Hello everyone. Today is the first day of the Kiro Hackathon hosted by Claude, Amazon Kiro, and the Dynamis community. As a moderator of the Dynamis community, I will not make any submissions to this hackathon, but I will, throughout the hackathon, every day, Monday to Friday, post a video where I spend about an hour exploring Kiro and build something with Kiro, both IDE and the CLI, and I will share my journey here with you. So I will be releasing one video every Monday through Friday throughout this hackathon and share what I learn along the way, my best practices of using Kiro, the Kiro CLI, and coding agents in general. I am totally new to Kiro. I have literally not even installed it yet. I did have the IDE for a couple of days when it was first released in beta a few months ago, but I have not touched it since. I have never really used it. So it's going to be really exciting for me to see what I can do with Kiro, share what I learn, and I hope that you guys also share with me what you learn down in the comments below. The Kiro Hackathon Cole is hosting is a hackathon with a $17,000 prize pool. So quite a cool prize here as well if you choose to participate. What is also cool about this is that you can literally build anything you want. Really, there's no restrictions of what you can build. The only thing that you should be thinking about here is that you should be using the Kiro either IDE or CLI, and you should also log how you use it, and you should be able to kind of provide evidence of how you are using the Kiro CLI, because that will be one of the bases of the judging later on as well. Functional and deployable, not just a prototype. So this is a hackathon that runs through most of January, like I think something like 15 days. So you really have time to build something impactful and meaningful here. So if we dig into the judging criteria, it will be judged on 5 different criteria. So application quality, the quality of your application. How did you use the Kiro CLI or the IDE? So make sure that you document everything. What are the commands you use? Like think about your workflow and things like that, the completeness of your documentation and how transparent your application is. Innovation. So innovation here goes both for the quality and also the usage. So innovative ways how to use the Kiro CLI and also the innovation of your application itself. And then also a small portion goes towards your presentation. You will record a short video of yourself presenting your submission. So here are the criteria. Really excited to see what all of you guys build. I will also be judging this. So yeah, it will be very exciting to see what everyone builds here. And I'm sure that there will be some really cool application being built. There's also some required documentation that you need to have. You need to have Kiro.steering. I literally do not really know if this is something that you need to write yourself or if Kiro provides this. I'm assuming this is a feature in Kiro, but we will get to that soon. I will dig into all of this. Kiro prompts, I'm assuming, is Kiro's custom slash commands here by what it says here. So yeah, here is where we can put things like our Claude code slash commands, maybe even sub agents, I'm not sure. And yeah, we'll see how this works as we dig into Kiro here later on. And one other thing here is your devlog. So basically document what you did, the time you spent, the decisions you made, what challenges did you run into, how did you overcome those challenges can also be cool to have. And yeah, time spent. And then some more information about how you will submit this will come later on. But basically you will submit your source code and all of the documentation files, and then you will record a 2 to 5 minute video where you explain and you talk about basically a pitch. Think about this as like an elevator pitch of your project that we will be using as we judge it. Also, something that is important to consider is that when you build, make sure that your project is not too difficult to get running. So like if you have too many different API keys needed, too much setup needed, it's more likely that it's going to be harder for the judges to kind of get it running, get it started. So if it's difficult to set up, make sure that your documentation of how to set it up is excellent and that it's easy to follow the instructions. And yeah, keep API costs and so on to a minimum. Use the big ones like OpenRouter or Anthropic or Google or OpenAI. If you use anything but that, maybe some judge doesn't have those. tokens or credits. Let's get ready to build. If you want to join, I'm going to put everything in the description below as well. Just click this join the hackathon. This will literally just take you to the hackathon event in the Dynamis community. And there will be no confirmation here. It will just basically take you here. And if you get here in this channel, you are already signed up. So there is no additional step or process that you need to do. You just click there and you will be ready to go. Okay, cool. So now let's close this down. Let's scroll up here. So we have here some resources. We have a quick start guide provided by Claude. This is a repo. We'll take a look at this later. And we also have some links here. Yeah, so download Kiro. Okay, here we are in the Kiro documentation. So let's move on here. As I said, I don't even have Kiro downloaded at this point, so I'm just gonna go through everything here from this page here. So let's just take a look. I'm gonna go to the docs, IDE installation. I'm just gonna take it from here, download for silicone, and then I'll go back to the docs once it starts. So I guess my download is not starting. Interesting. So let's create an account first. Okay, so I'm using GitHub here to sign up for Kiro. And let's see. Okay, here we go. Install Kiro, download. Let's see if this one works. Something happened. But yeah, no indication that anything is downloading. Let's see. Downloads folder. Okay, I can see in my downloads. Okay, I just can't see it in my browser. Here we go. So now you can see that actually I'm downloading a bunch of different versions of it here. While that is happening, let's install it. We can do that too, right? So I'm just gonna run the curl command here, and we can do that in the meantime. Gonna install everything, get up and running, make sure it works. Download is done as well, so I'm gonna start installer of the IDE. Let's see, Kiro. It's open. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna sign then in with my GitHub. So I have some bonus credits here. Also, that's one thing that is important to mention is that later on, we will have some credits for everyone who participates. Credits will come later on. I don't know if it's today or if it's in a couple of days, but there will be Kiro credits also for all of the hackathon participants. For now, I'm just going to close this so we get some more space here. So let's see what's happening in the terminal. So yeah, Kiro -CLI. Let's get signed in here as well then. GitHub. Okay, let's go. Okay, so we are signed in. Clear up. And let's do the IDE first here. So migrate extension settings, key bindings, getting instance, I don't use VS Code, so I don't have any of this that I can import. I'm gonna use dark mode. Yeah, set up shell. Okay. So I have actually created a folder here. We're already in projects, so we have Kiro demo. Yeah, perfect. So I'm just gonna check here, open a project. Let's go to projects, Kiro demo. Let's open up. Okay, trust. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here if I can. Guess not. There we go. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we have some things here, specs, hooks, steering. Okay, so this is the steering that we had, MCP as well. Okay, so we have some powers. Okay, that's cool. What's that? Design with Figma. I mean, I guess this is probably like skills, right? We'll look into that later. Let's take a look here first at, so we have VS Code, disabled MCP servers. I mean, it looks very similar to VS Code here. Obviously, it's a fork. We have a bit of agent interface here on the right, new sessions, history, task list. Okay. So what I know about Kiro so far, right, is that it's basically cursor clone or VS Code clone but with opinions about context engineering. So basically, you know, it has something like a PRP or a BMAT or something like that built in. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but let's find out. So let's close this for now. We can open it here. And yeah, let's try to do something here. What if we just set up this and we create a new session? We can start specking something out. So let's build a simple to-do app. So this is not about what we're building yet, just about how we are doing it. So it's creating requirements, acceptance criteria, basically like tasks, right? Design, let's close that out. So basically like user stories, but not quite. 5 requirements with acceptance criteria. I mean, that's good. I don't see any kind of validation here yet, except for the acceptance criteria. Let's just go through the works here. Let's go through to the design phase. Yeah, it's the ERS pattern, of course. That's why it looks like a user story, but not quite. And then we have, yeah, okay, so it has a mermaid. Can we view that somehow? That would be cool if we can like just view mermaid. I guess we can probably install extensions for that, if nothing else. But I mean, this is, let's keep it simple for now. We're just testing here, right? So collocate test with source files. Yeah, like that. That's how I usually build. And okay, move to implementation plan. I mean, we don't really care what our to-do app is going to look like, how it's going to work. We're more interested in what the process looks like. What is the piv loop or the flow of creating here. So yeah, here, okay. So now tasks are being created. So if you look at it here, so the requirements have this EARS, kind of like user stories. With, yeah, okay, so it is user stories and acceptance criteria here. Okay, I only saw this part. I didn't see the user story part before. Okay, but cool. Then we have the design doc. It has the overview. This is basically like a PRD. It has the architecture, layers, task models. It has the data models, the interface, controller, state, properties. The document's quite a lot here. Let's see what it does on the task. It doesn't seem to mention any tech stack just yet. Here are the tasks. Let's read through the task here just a little bit to see like the structure of the task. So set up project structure, create HTML files, set up to-do list. Okay. Implement, start. Okay, so these are optional tasks, I guess, if they are grayed out a little bit. I guess that means that they're optional. We will learn that along the way. Okay, so here it says that they are actually optional. It takes quite a long time to generate this here. I mean, I guess it's not about how fast it is, it's more about accuracy. So let's, while that's happening here, let's see if there is something else we can kind of like explore. Settings, autopilot, agent ignore files we can add. Reference tracker. I don't care about this. Command deny lists. Configure MCP. We'll take a look at how to configure MCP servers later. It's not really a priority here. Code-based indexing. I am not a fan of code-based indexing usually, but I mean, we should test this at some point. I'm not going to do it now because we don't really have a code base. Okay, this is actually waiting for my input. It says here, yeah, make all required. Why not? Enable debug logs. Yeah, I mean, that could be useful. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be good when we write prompts and stuff. Not going to care about that right now. Trusted commands, trusted tools. Okay, let's put on some notifications here. Action required. Why didn't we see that notification? Agent success. Yeah, let's have that too. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's just close. there is some, we can go over, there's a lot of things here, I guess. And let's do that later. We have all the tasks here now. Okay, so we have spec. Can we see the other things here too? Okay, they all kind of come in here. I'm just gonna close these. Yeah, okay, so they all kind of come under the requirements here. So what do I do now? Okay, start implementing by opening the tasks.md file and clicking start task next to any item. Okay, start task. It feels a bit like rigid at the moment. That's my first impression, that it feels like rigid. Like, why do I have to come in here and click? Why can't I just say start to the agent? I mean, I can, right? But it just feels like an unnecessary action to have to like open the task list and come here and click. We can also kind of see here that set up the structure and core interface, create HTML, da, 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 da. I mean, it's quite a small task. I could easily do, let's say, I would probably do this, quite slowly, make sure I get all this set up correctly. But for this, right, like where I have my models defined already, when I have done all the prep work, and for my project, I created the data models and the types and all of that stuff, I could probably do all of these storage layer, property, tests, unit tests. Yeah. So at least task 1 to 3, I could do as one task. Like I don't need to do them in this type of like super rigid flow where I have to come in and click start task and everything. It just feels very non-autonomous to me. And it is not really the way I like to work or do things. I want to be able to automate as much as possible of the workflow. But yeah, we'll see later on. This is just my first impression, and we might be totally able to do that later on. Let's take a look. Okay. Task in progress still. Are we like waiting for something here? Okay, maybe I needed to do that. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be building for the hackathon just yet. So if you have any ideas of what you would like to see me build for the hackathon itself, please comment down below with your ideas. I mean, my main idea at the moment is that I build a CLI for my work tree skill that I was in my previous video that you can see here. I'll link it. And basically what I would want to do then is instead of having it like just as a skill with different shell commands, we build a small Rust CLI essentially that will help us control work trees, track work trees, start new work trees, and also hopefully we can also build it into Kiro somehow so that we can like kind of launch Kiro inside of work trees. So that's kind of how I see that application coming along. I think it's not very clear when it needs my input. Like sure, something comes up here. So if I put on autopilot, I expect it to be actual autopilot. Like, I mean, this is a little bit annoying at this point. Yeah. This is the one I should have auto accepted or trusted, I guess. We don't need to trust the dependency installs, but running tests, I don't want to do manually, of course. Okay, task 1 complete. Let's see then. Let's just run a couple of more tests here, or tasks to see. And then we try to run. Let's see, can we run the server? Simple to do, add new task. We probably don't have all the functionality just yet here. I mean, it looks all right. It works. That's all we can really demand at this point. But yeah, my main problem so far is that it doesn't feel very autonomous. Let's do this here and start up the CLI. So here we have all the things. We can do Kiro CLI. And what can we do here? No idea. It runs. Let's just take a look here. We can go to just kiro.dev, CLI, installation, chat, model selection. Okay, we have sub-agents. That's nice. We have planning agent, which I guess is kind of what we use, right, with the spec thing. We can try this. more when we actually start building the project for the hackathon in a couple of days. So today, you know, I'm just basically doing like this kind of first look, not building anything meaningful. Okay, let's take a look at this command here. So we have /prompts. Doesn't do anything because we don't have any prompts, right? So if we want to write a prompt, manage prompt, list prompt, create name. Okay, let's just copy this. And let's open this again. Prompts, create, -- content. And then we should have the content, right? No. Interesting. /prompts, name, prompts create. Okay, did I miss create? No. Dash name, test. Let's just do test. And then do -- content. And then do, there we go. /prompts. And now we have it. So now let's just take a look at this. .kiro /prompts is where it gets stored. Close this for a second. .kiro prompts test. So this is where the prompt gets stored. Let's run everything here. My dog is going crazy downstairs. I hope that you guys don't get too distracted by that. Okay, but let's take a look. We run. Should I be able to run this? I feel like I should be able to run the / command from here. Yeah, I don't know yet how to run this command. Like, I mean, I guess from the CLI, we can just do /test. Okay, not really. Let's just exit /quit. We can do okay. Nice. Okay, so Kiro -CLI. Let's do now, see if we can load it, test. No, why not? Did I miss something here? Oh, edit prompt /prompts edit, view prompt details, using prompt @ okay, so I need to do the @ that's annoying. So @ okay. Well, that's one way to do it. Test, and that's how we invoke /commands or prompts in this case, since we don't use a /. And passing arguments, required arg, optional arg. Okay, let's rewrite here then our prompt a little bit. Let's test this out here. So no argument support for file-based prompts. Okay, what does that mean? So, okay, let's just do like this. And I go back to Kiro. And you say, please explain how to write Kiro prompts, how to use arguments, syntax, and create a simple example prompt with argument where the prompt is answered with. Okay, I'm just gonna give it here. The documentation, something about the CLI interface here, like the UI of it is like, it's hard to read, much harder to read than Claude Code. And so like, where is my message versus where is the answer is a little bit hard to determine. So not a huge fan of that just now, but let's see. Basic prompt creation using prompts. Okay, only MCP server prompts support arguments. I don't know what that means, create a prompt. So if I create a file prompt with text, I cannot use arguments inside my. What's the value of this MCP servers? I don't see the use case here. Yeah, I know that. Dev tools analyze performance detail. Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll test this out later. Let's do some more checking here instead on this stuff. So we have here, okay, we need to reload. There we go. So we have the Dynamis Kiro Hackathon template here. This is created by Cole. So this is basically like a quick start, how to get started. So I'm gonna use this template, create a new repo, just name it Kiro Hack Test, create, and I'm going to clone it. Let's do cd, let's do Kiro Hack Test, cd, Kiro Hack Test. Okay, cool. Now we can, so we should have to here, Kiro demo, let's close that. Zoom in a bit on that one. Let's see what we have here. So one thing we can do here is just, let's close this out. Let's wipe a little bit. Please explore and explain this repo to me. We didn't clone yet, of course. Stupid. And let's do git clone. There we go. Now it went into there. Okay. So we have okay, so it has the Kiro documentation. That's cool. Then we can use this to kind of ask about Kiro. That's good. Prompts, code review, some simple commands, judging criteria review. Okay, that's cool. I didn't know he had created these. We'll take a deeper dive into these commands. But yeah, so this looks like it could be some really helpful stuff. Like we can use this for like our base commands, plan feature, similar to what we have in our course. So check out the course. Prime, quick start, root cause analysis. I mean, I know these commands because I have also helped create them. And then we can review our system. Okay, perfect. Steering, CLI reference, product, structure, tech, examples, devlog. Okay, we have a devlog template here, or an example rather. Okay, cool. That's something we can do then. Let's do that today maybe. So yeah, so it defines what this repository is, a hackathon template, explains about the hackathon, Kiro guide, 70 pages about Kiro, the documentation, hackathon specific README examples, configuration files, custom prompts, steering document. Okay, perfect. And so check this out. If you want some help getting started, you can use this as your base. Like you can start building from here. You can just kind of remove the things that you don't need. Documentation can be useful to have here. You can point Kiro to some specific documentation if you need some help with something, and some steering reference, how to install product. Here is a template, so this is perfect what we want to have for our PRD. And structure, you can of course change this up here if you want to. Let's just ask, is there a specific process that template wants us to follow? I guess we would find it if we read the README, but I can't bother. Initial setup, run at quick start, fills out the steering wizard, configures development workflow, sets up Kiro CLI, core development cycle, prime, this loads basically what we have, plan feature, if you want to create something new, build and iterate. Yeah, perfect. Code review, update the log. Do we have a prompt for that? No, we don't. Cool. So we can create that prompt actually. And okay, so this will take you through like a wizard of what you want to build. So this is great. Like if you have an idea of what you want to build, you can go through this here and do it. Okay, so I'm gonna start using some text-to-speech here to make it quicker. I don't want to actually go through this quick start guide here. I'd rather us create a command. So the command that we should create should go into .kiro/prompts, and it should be create devlog, should be the name of it, or not create devlog, but rather add to devlog. And we want to create a command that asks the user about what he did today, how much time he spent, and all the questions for the devlog, and then create a structured template for a day in the devlog. So you assume that it's going to be day by day. Then I want the agent to be instructed how to run like the git commands to check recent commits, check merges in GitHub using the GitHub CLI, and yeah, check basically technical progress for the user for that day on the specific project. Let's see what it comes up with this. So yeah, I mean, the idea here is that we create some kind of simple command to devlog, which will basically be our command that we run after each day that will just kind of structure our devlog and add to what we did that day, what we learned. And just by talking to Kiro in this case, then we can kind of like fill out this devlog. So add a structured entry to your devlog with automated process tracking. So yeah, what did you work on today? How much time did you spend? What were the main accomplishments? What got completed or significant progress made? Any challenges or blockers? Key decisions? Plan for next session? New learners can interact, CLI usage and highlights. Okay, cool. So it will check git commits, GitHub activity, which GitHub, perfect. File changes, analysis. Okay, cool. Please create now devlog.md inside, or maybe there is one. Okay, this looks great. So let's now create a devlog.md. Let's put it in the .kiro /devlog/devlog.md. So let's create a new folder in there so that we keep everything inside of the .kiro folder. Devlog.md should for now just be a template of like the meta description of like everything that happens throughout the entire hackathon. So we also want to add to devlog markdown, so metadata like about total numbers of code written, you know, line changed and whatever, and then the entry for each day. So the slash command or the prompt needs to be aware like which day we're on as well. So it needs to kind of check today's date first. Okay, let's see what it comes up with here. MD exists, so we need to guide it to where it exists. And the devlog, we have another devlog project name. So we have, you know, this devlog in here. Okay, good. It's changing that now. And let's just do a search here for devlog. Append to, okay, great. So let's just take a look at the actual template structure here. Day, full date, main focus, time spent, commits made, lines, deadlines removed, net lines, files modified, accomplishments, progress, code changes, GitHub activity, work breakdown, challenges, solutions, key decisions. Okay, I mean, it's comprehensive. Maybe we don't need all of this, but maybe you want to use this and you can, you know, edit this to your liking. I'm going to keep it like this for now and let's test it. We have the full devlog here. And yeah, some good, yeah, goals, development statistics, secure CLI usage. Let's test it. Okay, breakdown by week, daily entries. Okay, so it's quite a lot of things. We might want to trim this a little bit. It's a bit maybe too complicated at the moment. Can we, okay, so we now have a session here. We want a new session because we kind of want to be able to go in there and edit it. So let's just run add to devlog. Something that would be really nice as well would be if we could, you know, autocomplete the command. Now we need to kind of remember what all of these are named. If you want to run commands, especially in the CLI, then we can't look in the file explorer. Then we need to kind of remember the commands. Okay, so it checks the date. Okay, we don't have a Git repository here. Yes, we should. Should that? Yeah. Okay, so let's just answer these questions here. I actually didn't do much today. The only thing I wrote was the add to devlog and the devlog template. So the add to devlog command and the devlog template. That's what I did today in terms of code or written lines. It's markdown files. The goal of today was to get Kiro installed, the Kiro IDE and the Kiro CLI. Just explore it and get a first look. Don't go too deep into anything. Get some kind of first impression. Then tomorrow we're going to take a bit of a deep dive into some of the core features. I spent about an hour, maybe 50 minutes. I can't remember exactly what time I started, but about 50 minutes so far. We learned how to install Kiro. We learned some of the basic things that we can do. We know that we can use commands/commands. We know we can use the CLI and the IDE. We know how to set up new steering in our project with the Kiro's default flow, at least. We want to look into more about if we can customize this and how we can customize this. We also learned about the starter template, what prompts exists in there, and how to get started. And the main challenges so far is that I'm used to Claude Code. It seems a little bit less developed at this point. Nice to have features that we have in Claude Code, like the autocomplete for commands, a simple way of invoking commands, argument syntax inside of commands, stuff like that will be maybe a challenge to work around later on when we start implementing our own commands. But yeah, the main accomplishment was that we learned basic stuff about Kiro, and we read some documentation. We used Kiro to teach us about Kiro. We created a devlog command that we can use here at the end of every day. We haven't started our project just yet, so we haven't made any progress on the actual project. We haven't decided what to build. So for tomorrow's session, the goal is to dive a little bit deeper into a few select things in the Kiro documentations, maybe commands and MCP servers, I'm not sure yet. And then we will also maybe decide tomorrow or in a couple of days what we actually will build for the hackathon. And yeah, no really highlights just yet. I like that there is some help for this spec-driven development stuff, but I also dislike that it feels so rigid that it's like you have to press play for each task to do the next task. I want to build a more autonomous system, and that's what I will try to do as part of building out the project for the hackathon. So we have that prompt. Let's send it off. That should answer all of the questions for the first day entry. Let's take a look. We have our devlog here. It's starting to get filled out. I'm going to take all of the output here of this once we're done and feed it back into the other session to make improvements to the commands and stuff, because we did have some issues here and that it didn't find that it was a Git repository and so on. So I don't know why that happened, but yeah, I'm sure Kiro knows once we feed this back in. Okay. So yeah, we don't have anything filled out in the kind of top part of the template here, which is fine. Okay, so it didn't add any metadata, which may be fine because we didn't do any coding. But yeah, let's see. Daily entries. Day 1, time spent 50 minutes, commits made 1, lines added, lines removed, night lines, custom files 2, accomplishments. Okay, well, I mean, I kind of like this. There is some bloat for sure. But it's good. I mean, this is a good thing to use also for context for LLM later on. We'll take a look at that in maybe some future videos here. But yeah, I'm going to say here, please take a look at the following. This is an example run here of the new prompt that we created. There are a couple of issues here. First of all, there is some issues with the git commands in the beginning, as you can see. And there's also no updates to the metadata in the devlog. I'm not sure if that's maybe intentional, but it would be nice at least if some of the metadata was filled in, at least what we would know at this point, like overall progress, for example, where we could easily just add the day, the development day, for example, total hours, total commits, and so on. So even though this is not the repo that we will actually be working on in the hackathon, it's still counted as kind of like a devlog day. Okay, so let's see. This should make some improvements now to our command. Okay, some date parsing issue probably. So let's take a look. And let's just tell this guy here. Okay, great. So now that you have done that, can you please roll back devlog.md template so that it's like ready to be filled again from the beginning? Like not actually any specifics filled out. Let's wait for this to be done. So let's run it again here with the new command. New command is a little bit longer. We don't have the time. I don't want to really spend more than an hour per day on this, so I will end it here very soon as we run it the next time. And we will go back to refining this some other day. And also, if you want to use this, like, feel free to take this and slim it down, make it work for your specific use case and your way how you want to fill your devlog. But this is at least a very nice way how to get started with into the habit of filling these every day or after every session, essentially. Let's do add to devlog here. Okay. So, I mean, it figures it out. So it's not the end of the world. It's not working great, but it's kind of like figuring out what to run anyways to kind of get the information it needs. And yeah, it's asking me different questions here. But yeah, let's just send the same message. And before that starts filling out, let's copy that and let's do a new file here, devlog-template.md, so that it's easier for you to copy it if you want to use it. You won't have like my daily entry and stuff in there. And let's put it there. Devlog is mine. Okay, let's see. Let's run everything. So what I will do, I'll just push this up to GitHub. I'll link it down below so that you can get my devlog template stuff, the command if you want to use it, or you can just create your own. But yeah, let's take a look here and wrap this up. It still didn't like enter my name and stuff. So it should enter the things that it has access to. Okay, so at least it has this. Yeah. I mean, all of this metadata is really not needed. So it doesn't really matter that it's not filled out at this point. The daily entry here is filled out. We're gonna up this to 1 hour, but yeah. Okay, cool. It has everything filled out here. Now I'm gonna say, please commit and push everything. And then I will put that in the description. So yeah, if you want to use it, feel free. If you want to give me some pointers of how to use Kiro, as you can see, I'm very green here to using Kiro. If you have some experience, please let me know what I'm doing wrong down below. Also, if you have any ideas of what you want me to build for the hackathon, also comment down below any cool ideas or projects that you have that you would like me to test out. If you have questions, let me know either in the comments here or in the community. I hope you all enjoy building something cool, and I'm very excited to see what you build. I'll see you guys again tomorrow.